I'm with Meghan Murphy again, everybody. Welcome back to Walk-Ins. Welcome. So good to see you.
Hi, good to see you.
Welcome to Austin.
Thank you.
What are you doing here, by the way?
Hanging around.
Are you? You're just hanging out?
Well, because I was just in London for the Battle of Ideas festival.
And it was your birthday?
And it was my B-Day, so
Happy birthday.
I say how old I am?
You don't have to.
I kind of always want to, because I feel like, first of all, people think I'm a lot younger, so I like to brag about how old I am. And second of all, the internet says that I'm 2 years older than I actually am, so I like to correct the record. I don't know what, like if you Google me, it says I'm 48. So now it'll probably say that I'm 49 if the internet...
Did you just turn 47?
I turned 46.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Isn't that weird? I don't know how the internet came up with that. But I was coming back from London, and just all the flights back to Puerto Vallarta, which is where I fly into, were awful, and they had awful layovers. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go through Austin, and at least I know people here, and it'll be fun, and I'm not going to like spend 11 hours in Denver or San Francisco. So
instead, you'll spend 4 days here.
Getting fat.
That's what you do in Austin.
That's the plan.
What were you doing in TERF Island?
So they do the Battle of Ideas festival, which was amazing. It's an amazing festival and huge. Like, it's so well attended.
Was Andrew Gold there?
If he was, I didn't see him, but he may have been. I was on a panel with Andrew Doyle, which was awesome.
He was just here.
And
just in that very chair.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. I love him.
I love him too. He's so brilliant.
He's brilliant, and he's like such a nice person.
Yeah.
And I really like him a lot.
Yeah.
I appreciate him a lot. And yeah, I mean, TERF Island is really incredible. Like, those women over there are so unafraid and so witty and funny in their approach to the Scottish women and the UK women. I remember when I was first, I mean, I've been getting canceled for ages, like 2015, but I got so much support over the years from from TERF Island, from the Brits, and from the Scottish women. Nothing in Canada. Nobody gave, almost no one defended me. Even the TERFy women were still hiding out in their stupid little Facebook groups.
Yeah.
But the UK women were super bold, and they also really got on top of the gender identity stuff and the trans rights stuff right away, I think. And when I asked them why, I was like, how did you guys manage to organize so quickly and actually accomplish quite a bit? They have accomplished a lot there in terms of defending women's sex-based rights, but also, protecting kids from being trans, which we have not done in Canada at all. We haven't moved the needle at all, and they say, oh, well, it's because we saw the craziness in Canada and we saw what was happening to you, so we got on it right away. But I think it's more than that. I think it's just that they're quite a bit more bold and feisty than Canadians are.
I mean, I think J.K. Rowling was a big part of it.
That's also true.
Like, I wrote that piece for Unheard a while ago about why, just how women have been kind of taught over the past couple decades to not trust their instincts and to actually feel like they're somehow bigots if a man is in a woman's space and they're feeling uncomfortable. You're supposed to be like, oh, I'm just being inclusive. And like, some guy is there, drooling over them. It's like not okay at all. But women are taught now, this whole generation of women has basically been like, had their, I don't know, I feel like it's criminal to do that to people, men or women, that gaslighting to make them feel like they're crazy or make them feel like they shouldn't trust their instincts. Like, these are such basic things that this whole entire movement has taken away from people. And I do feel like when people are like, oh, it's just the same thing as like gay rights, I'm like, no, it's not. They did not. The gay rights movement did not do this to people. They didn't gaslight people. They didn't tell people that they had to not trust their instincts in spaces to... It was not the same. It didn't feel like it was this kind of like fear-based movement at all. It felt much more loving than this movement. And then J.K. Rowling, in this piece, I was like, where is our J.K. Rowling?
Yeah.
We just don't, if any one woman who had a platform as big as J.K. with as much money or resources or power, like Oprah, if any one of these people had stood up and said, like, this is fucking crazy, do you know how much further along we would be in saving a lot of people from, like, the horrific detrans and all the stuff they have to go through. And you saw all I'm sure you've seen all the numbers coming out, like, as we sit down today, which is basically that if you were born between 1998 and 2003 or so, you kind of hit the peak trans wave of, like, the madness or the fashion or whatever you want to call it. And now it's receding again, which lots of people fucking said that it was going to do. Yeah. Like you and me and many others. And it's still weird, like, the pushback that I see to that, even in the face of numbers and science and it moving away. But in places like Canada, not receding.
No, nothing's changed in Canada. I mean, there's one province, in Alberta, the Premier, Danielle Smith, who's a conservative, she's been trying to push back against the transing of kids in particular and the men competing or males competing in female sports. And of course, being, like, vilified and attacked across the country by the population, by politicians. But the rest of Canada, nothing. And it's strange because they seem, the trend is obviously going in the opposite direction, since the Cass report came out and the WPATH files in the UK and in America.
Can you explain what the Cass report and the WPATH files are for people who might not know what they are? Who don't live and breathe this ridiculous shit?
Yeah, I'll just, I guess, just very briefly, these were two reports that looked at all these studies around the transitioning of kids in particular and found that none of the claims related to these studies, which were all bunk essentially, that were demonstrating that, if a kid believes that they have another gender identity or, and I don't even want to say believe, because obviously kids don't get these ideas themselves. Like, these ideas, like, when we were kids, it would have never occurred to any of us that, oh, maybe I'm a boy. And I was boyish. Like, I was a tomboy and I liked to do boy things. I always, when I was little, I had taught myself how to burp the alphabet and pee standing up. And, like, I had short hair and I refused to wear pink. And I just hated anything that had to do with girls and girly things. And I was into, there were tomboys in the culture, the books that I read, Pippi Longstocking. Yeah. And there were all these girl characters in all the books that I was reading that were having adventures, like Meg from Wrinkle in Time. Yeah. And even Ramona. I don't know if you remember
Ramona,
those
of course.
Yeah, they were so good. Punky Brewster. And
also just in the, like, mainstream movies, even in the, like, Alien, and there were so many, and Terminator, there were so many feminine badass heroes that I had growing up, and that it was just, like, in the culture around.
Yeah. So, I mean, so I liked boy things, but I never thought, oh, maybe I'm a boy. So obviously it's adults who are implanting these ideas into kids' brains. But say a kid says, oh, they're a boy and I'm actually a girl, or vice versa. The arguments were that you had to transition them because otherwise they'd be suicidal. Yeah. And that they would be much happier if you started them on puberty blockers and then hormones and all these things so that, they could pass as the opposite sex. Or it was that, these things are all harmless and it's reversible. Right. So you can just put the kid on puberty blockers and, if they change their mind later, they can just go off them and go back to normal. And that's not the case at all. Yeah. All of this has harmful effects. But what the studies show is that if you put a kid on puberty blockers, they're very, very most likely to then go on to hormones and then go on to get the surgeries. You're putting them on a path to transing. But anyway, there's no evidence that shows that these kids are more likely to be suicidal further down the road or unhappy or in the other direction, that they're going to be more happy and have less mental health issues and less emotional, mental, psychological distress if you don't trans them. So that's essentially, these are massive reports. So I'm really
I mean, these clinics were a lot of them have been shut down.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It was not just the reports came out, but they've actually shut down entire gender clinics. And what was the big one that was in the UK?
It's like the NHS. The
mermaids or something.
Tavistock. Yeah. I mean, it's really, it seems to me that this trend is ending across the world, except for in Canada. I think that places like Australia and New Zealand are still clinging also. Australia, New Zealand, and Canada always seem to do similar things politically. But it's weird because Canada tends to, as much as they pretend to hate America, they follow in the footsteps of America.
Yeah.
So it's strange to me that Canada hasn't observed that the tides are turning and that people who didn't realize, I was going to say we always knew that it was harmful. People are realizing how harmful these drugs are and how really messed up and damaging this ideology is in general, but not just to women, but to kids and doing nothing in response.
I imagine it would be hard to let go of. It's like Helen Joyce had that quote that went viral where she was saying a lot of this stuff is parents who got behind this and believed in it, and then having to face that you've done irreversible harm to your child is so hard and painful that it's easier, because a lot of people get mad at the parents and in some ways they just went along, and I feel there is a part of me that feels like obviously they should be held responsible. But on the other hand, they were bullied by experts all around them who basically told them, the famous line, do you want would you rather have a trans kid or a dead kid? Yeah. And so they were emotionally manipulated into getting on board with this. Some of them, it was like a nice, cool accessory for them to feel cool about. Yeah. But a lot of the parents were desperate and didn't know what to do. And once their kid, you don't really know what it's like until you're in that situation with a teen or a tween, and they get this in their head, and it's in the zeitgeist, and it's on TikTok, and they're so insistent on it. And if you push against it, it makes them dig their heels in even more because they're teenagers, like we did when we were. And it was, so I think a lot of the parents, and I say this only being very close to Abigail Schreier and knowing what she's seen over the years just in her inbox, is like parents desperate for help and resources and any kind of alternative, anything, any solution that you can offer to what was mainstreamed even in like the therapeutic community, which was basically like, oh, if you don't just go along with these kids and acknowledge that affirmative care, if you're not just affirming their belief, you could lose your license in certain states.
Yeah.
And so this is also like the experts, doctors, people who these parents trusted were also all in unison telling them that this was the safe and right thing for them to do. And I think it's hard to like let go of that idea. And it's much easier to just double down and go, well, this is just right-wing bigotry. And then this election happened, and it was like so clear that kind of normie America was like, no, we've had enough of this shit, and push back in a big way. I feel like this was a referendum on that ideology in particular.
Yeah, totally. I mean, in Canada, actually, they criminalized the kind of watch and wait approach.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, they defined it under the conversion therapy laws. So conversion therapy is illegal in Canada. It was already. And then they added gender identity and gender expression to this ban against conversion, so-called conversion therapy in Canada, which is fucked because as many people have noted, the result of transing kids is often that you're turning gay kids straight.
Right.
Like a lot of the girls who trans as minors would otherwise turn out to be lesbians. I mean, they are lesbians still. They're still female, of course. But, therapists and doctors and those kinds of people are not allowed to challenge a minor's identity.
Yeah.
Which is really messed up. They're obligated to go along with the transing if they're working with these kids. But yeah, I mean, if you were a parent, I feel awful for these parents.
I feel awful for them too.
It's horrible. I've met so many parents, I've had them on the podcast, but also, I've met a ton of them in real life. I met a bunch I was at the Gen Spec conference in Albuquerque recently. And it's just devastating. So many of them are estranged from their kids because, the challenge is like, do I go along with this horror?
And
or
keep
do
my
I
kid
push
close?
back and then they never speak to me again?
Yep.
Which is what has happened to a lot of them. A lot of them, haven't had a relationship with their child in, 5 years. Now they're 20 or whatever.
Yep.
And for the ones who did go along with the transing and encourage and support, how would you backtrack on the fact that you just ruined your child's life?
But
and
also
body?
imagine being that individual.
Yeah.
Even worse, it's like I've interviewed so many detransitioners as you have, and the parallels, it's not one-to-one, obviously, but the parallels and the kind of psychology of you get into this world and then it's never enough with almost like drug addiction. It's like you think it's going to be hormones, but then it's not hormones. And then you think that changing your body is going to work. And then it's not that. It's like and then you get surgery and you keep like doubling down and doubling down and doubling down on all of these decisions. And you reach the end and you're still kind of at rock bottom. And I mean, until a lot of these Reddits were banned, those were some of like the most tragic Reddits you would read, were people who had detransitioned or felt like they made this mistake. And there was, like, again, I say it's not one-to-one because at least getting sober, I can just see you can do irreversible harm to your body and, get in a car accident and kill somebody. There are things that can happen that you can never take back in addiction, but it's not in the same way of this where like there's not much you can do once you go down that path. And it's such a lie that they feed the parents and the kids. But such an obvious lie. Like I'm not a doctor, but how can you think that you can just interrupt this major transition that we all go through, puberty, and have no effects on your brain, your physiology, and think that you'll be able to somehow reverse that because it's just a one-time event that we go through. Like other than women who get to go through like another one in menopause.
Yeah, I mean,
like
it's
puberty
completely
too.
irrational.
We're back. Puberty too, only this time it's going to suck even more.
And you'll be old and unattractive and fat afterwards.
Only this time your vagina's going to get dry.
Fuck. I don't want to talk about it. I'm skipping it. I've decided. I'm like determined.
You're going to pass through it?
Yeah, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I have a plan.
You're like, in this case, I'm all for hormone therapy.
Dude.
This is when I become
I'm being serious.
pro hormone therapy.
I know, I'm like, how do I parse my decision to go on hormones so that I can skip getting old with my anti-hormones for kids? But like the levels of hormones are quite different for women who go on bioidentical hormones to skip perimenopause and menopause.
Well, I mean, I think what they found too is that again, it's so much of a lie about the science. They were like, oh, women can't go on hormones because they'll get cancer. And it was based on one study on like 12 people.
Yes.
And so this entire generation of women had to like suffer through a horrific menopause because they started going, hey, why are more women getting Alzheimer's and dementia than men? And now they're finding that it's because of menopause. And there's like relief for that.
You've all heard me screaming women for years now, and I'm a big advocate for women in general and women's health in particular. That's why I love Quest's line of medical tests specifically focused on women's health issues. They offer a basic women's health profile test that gives you a snapshot of your current health and wellness, women's hormone tests designed to identify imbalances associated with various health conditions, and specific tests for fertility, thyroid function, and even your menopause stage. This is all such important knowledge for women to have because it can affect the way you work out. It can affect what you should be eating. And just now they're starting to really realize how much all of these hormones play into us losing weight, keeping bone density. All of this information is so important to you. Your results are delivered online quickly and discreetly, and you get all of this information without a doctor's visit. Ladies, prioritize your health. Visit questhealth.com today. Use the code Phetasy to get 25% off and find answers to the multitude of health questions you may have. That's questhealth.com and use code Phetasy for 25% off.
I mean, they put like young people on birth control. How do you feel about birth control?
I don't think anybody should go on birth control. I think it's horrible. I think it's really bad. I mean, there's a difference between you're an adult woman and your hormone levels are going down. So you take I'm not a doctor, obviously, so my language is going to be imperfect around this, but you take very, very low levels of hormone to replace what you're losing, progesterone, testosterone, eventually estrogen.
Yep.
Versus messing with your natural hormone levels, and
or just interrupting.
You're
puberty.
stopping. You're not having a real period when you're on birth control pills. So you're really messing with your menstrual cycle, and there's all sorts of other impacts and harms related to the birth control pill.
There was like a study that came out this week that shows that
it's really bad,
giving women brain tumors and they're suing.
Oh God, of course. I mean, I didn't see that, but this doesn't surprise me at all. I mean,
I don't know if this is true. It might be something I just scrolled past and ingested and didn't research at all. But
no, I mean, I've never read a whole study in my life, but but on top of they've known for years and years and years that there's harmful impacts from the birth control pill. But so beyond the physical stuff and the blood clots and maybe brain tumors, the birth control pill decreases your libido and makes you fat. So it's really
it puts you in menopause.
It made me feel insane. Like I remember going off the birth control pill when I was younger. I was sort of on and off it for a while when I was like, I don't know, 17, 18, 19 kind of thing. And I always could feel that it made me feel crazy. It made my body feel like it really messed me up. So I would go on and off. And eventually I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't like it. I didn't know why it was making me feel messed up, but it was. So I went off of it. And one time I got accidentally pregnant one time. I think I was around 26 and I miscarried, actually. I was going to get an abortion and I didn't, thank God, because I did not want to go. This is a whole other story in and of itself, but it was very interesting to me because I never ever in my life wanted to have a baby, and then I got accidentally pregnant and my doctor told me, and my response was that I was like thrilled.
Like
I was like and I was like, what the fuck, because I didn't expect that. But sorry, now I've turned this into this whole other story. I felt that I had to go get an abortion. Because I didn't want to be attached to this guy for the rest of my life. And I was literally living in a trailer. Like I had no money. I had no nothing. I was living in a trailer. This guy was like an abusive horror show. I was not in a relationship with him. And I just didn't want to be associated with this guy forever. And I just felt that I couldn't and I was planning to get an abortion, but I really, really, really didn't want to do it. And then I miscarried, which was sort of a blessing to me, I suppose. But anyways, after that happened, my doctor, who was a man, was like, well, obviously you have to go on the pill. Like, essentially, like, well, you're too irresponsible to not be on the pill. And I was like, I don't want to. I don't like going on the pill. And he convinced me. And as they always do, they're like, oh, well, if you go on the patch, it's different than taking the pill. It wasn't different. And in fact, it was even worse. And I immediately felt insane, bloated, put on weight, and went off of it and never went on it ever again. But I think the pill is really bad for women.
They're always like, oh, it's different now than when you were young. They've come a long way with this.
It's the same thing.
It's different now than when your old bag started first introduced to it in your teens or whatever for your acne or something. Like it's.
Oh yeah, that's another weird.
They handed it out like candy for the acne back in the day.
Oh yeah, we all got it for free at the free clinic.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
The free clinic for sluts.
Isn't that just Planned Parenthood?
Well, in Canada. I mean, in Canada.
Is that what it's called?
In Canada.
The FCS.
There was
the free clinic for sluts.
I'm not joking. There was a specific clinic. I went to Kids High in Vancouver, and in Kitsilano, the neighborhood, there was a specific clinic. What was it called? It was called the Something Free Clinic, and it was where all the sluts went. Like, it was where all the girls went to get tested for chlamydia. I did not ever need to get tested for chlamydia, but why am I talking about this? I don't know.
I love jet lagged Meghan.
But you could also go there.
Jet lagged Meghan spilling all the beans.
I'm so sleepy and confused. It's like, just so everybody knows, I've never had chlamydia.
Just so everyone knows. No one asked, but you're like
attention.
It reminds me of that meme. That's
I was not one of those girls.
I feel like my I'm not a human trafficker t-shirt. Answering a lot. We're bringing up, what's that like famous meme? It's such a good joke. It's raising more questions than answers or whatever.
You're like, why do you have that t-shirt
I don't know.
on?
I've never had chlamydia. It's like, okay, I was not wondering that.
Just in case you were wondering. But you could go there to get you could get condoms and the pill. Yeah. But it was sort of always a thing to go. Like, it was always a bit embarrassing to go there, because if you were going there, everybody knew that it was because you were
a slut. Do the girls? I always feel like an old lady these days.
I didn't want anyone to see you going in. Okay.
It's so weird about the like culture, because in some ways I get on stage and feel like ancient when the audience is old, like younger millennials and Gen Z. When it's that audience, I'm like, you feel like a different species to me. Like, I don't even know what motivates you. And it's not like I can be like, hey, remember when you're going to the free clinic for sluts? Like, they'd be like, nah, no, actually, we don't have
they don't
have sex. So it's not like every generation. There's like this weird thing where in one way, the culture's flattened, and young people and old people all have like this weird shared, somewhat internet culture that everyone's a part of, no matter how old or young they are. But they're also like jokes you could make in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s for a crowd of people, young or old, that were somewhat relatable. Just there's like a line in the sand where it just stopped being relatable anymore.
100%. And, we all had sort of a shared culture in terms of movies and television and music too, because, like my whole life I've always watched older movies and listened to older music. I've been listening to like the Beach Boys and the Beatles and the Stones and J.J. Cale and Carole King since I was a kid. I still listen to all that music. You still watch like movies from the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, but then all of a sudden the millennials and the Gen Zs have no idea what any of those movies are and what the music is. And, I was going to say, I was like, where I feel really old is at karaoke but old in a good way. Like, I feel like I'm a better human being than the younger. I mean, I always feel like I'm better than all the younger generations because they suck. Gen X was the last good generation, as you know.
I feel like Gen Z is pretty cool.
They're okay because I feel like they're getting...
And the millennials are coming around. they're like aging into it. I have to believe in them.
Okay, I don't.
Although I will say, every time they fucking hate Gen X. Millennials have
That's because they're so jealous.
But they've been programmed to hate Gen X because every time I get on stage and I'm like having a hard time with the audience, I'll be like, are you guys like, what? How old are you? And they'll all be like, we're millennials. Or I'll be like, you millennials? And they'll agree. And I'm like, oh, this is why there's like this weird, it's like we just don't understand each other at all. Gen Z kind of can vibe with me. Like they can get down with Gen X.
That's interesting. I mean,
I think it's because a lot of Gen Zs have Gen X parents.
Okay.
Like technically, if I had kids younger than an ancient old lady, I could have
a normal age.
I could have like a Gen Z kid right now if I had kids.
Yeah, so they
like my normal friends had kids.
Well, okay, so when if you're into karaoke, which I really am, you'll notice and be angered by the fact.
Do you wear your I don't have chlamydia t-shirt when you do karaoke?
I've never had chlamydia.
I've never
100% chlamydia free for life.
I've never had chlamydia t-shirt when you go do karaoke.
This is the first time I've announced on a podcast that I've never had chlamydia.
I'm going to make this t-shirt for you. It's just a gift.
And I don't know why I brought this up. Here's my opportunity.
I've always been waiting
for a platform so that I can just let everyone know in case anybody was wondering.
I don't know why I'm imagining you like Koreatown in LA, just with your I've never had chlamydia t-shirt towering over all the Asian men singing Frank Sinatra. There's Meghan singing her. Okay, tell us your karaoke song.
Well, it's like normal people who do karaoke. The point of karaoke is that, you're trying to have fun and you want to engage the audience. So you sing songs that the audience knows. You don't go up there and like perform your own song or some random song that no one's ever heard of unless you're very good. And so normal people, like you go up and you'll sing like some, I don't know, classic song that everyone knows. Let's just say the Beatles. There's better examples or whatever.
Don't you hate the Beatles?
No, I love the Beatles.
Oh, okay.
I'm like the number one top defender of the Beatles.
Okay. I knew you felt passionately about the Beatles one way or the other.
I feel that the Beatles are the best band that's ever existed objectively. Like I don't feel like there's any argument that you can make against that. I do have a Beatles song that I sang at karaoke. But do you know what I mean? Like, it's a common song. You want people to, like, sing along. But the millennials, the younger millennials in particular, will get up and sing 800 songs that nobody's ever heard of. Like, those five girls know the song. It's always such a terrible song. And they're all singing along, and everyone is like, what the fuck is this? Because their culture is completely different than everyone else's culture, and they have no concept of that, apparently. It drives me insane. I'll be like, boo! Like, sing something we know.
Again, just imagining Meghan and her I've never had chlamydia
100% chlamydia
booing the millennials. They're like, who's that fucking old lady in the corner with her never had chlamydia t-shirt booing us?
Sing the Beatles.
And they're like, who the fuck are the Beatles?
I totally
fucking weirdo.
But they do.
No, it does feel that. We did we've started for Dumpster Fire doing, when we have to record in advance because it's a show about the news, we're like, all right, let's just start doing like movies that we loved from the 90s, from our time. And we did I rewatched Dazed and Confused.
Oh, I love it. It's one of my favorites. I've seen it so many times.
Yeah, but the culture, it took place in the 70s, and it was not like that different from the way I grew up in Minnesota.
Totally.
Like that was
Same.
a relatable. We used
You
to have
still
parties
go get drunk in the park and fall
woods.
over in the woods. Yeah, whatever.
You do keg stands. You yell.
You drive around. You just drive around, looking for parties or looking for people you know.
I'm telling
then
you,
you hang out with whoever you run into.
So part of this dumpster fire was me going on Reddit and reading the Dazed and Confused comments, and it was like all these millennials and Gen Z who was like, "Why are you driving around?" Like they did not understand. It's like
it was so fun.
We didn't have the fucking internet, guys.
We didn't know where anybody was.
But also we
had to drive around and find our friends.
We couldn't just sit online and scroll all day. We had to like go. This was our scrolling. It was like literal scrolling.
Just,
we were just
driving around.
We used to call it a BC around the OD, and it was a bowl cruise around the Ocean Drive, and it was like we would literally just get stoned and drive in circles around our town. That was like for hours. And smoke cigarettes and listen to freaking music. And they did not. This was the part that like baffled them the most. They're like, I don't get it. Like they were just such bullies, and it was funny. Reading the comments was really, really eye opening to me.
What a bunch of losers.
I bet these girls were probably singing Taylor Swift, and it's probably songs that lots of people knew, and you just hate Taylor Swift, the passion
so
I've never seen online.
It's so boring. I just want them to listen to good music, and they don't. There's so much good music out there for the past, 50, what is 50 years ago? I wanted to be, it's like the last 20 years. I'm like, wait a minute.
You're like 2000?
When was the 70s?
2005? You're like, this is how old we are. You're like 20 years ago in early 20 2000s.
Years ago in 1980.
In the mid-aughts.
Like in Vancouver, we had like a ghetto blaster.
Mm-hmm.
Do millennials know what that is? No, probably not. Like in the car because my friend's stereo was broken or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we would put the ghetto blaster in the back and listen to our rap music about whores, and drive around Solano to all the spots where people would just hang out. Like you sort of knew where to find people. We'd go to the 7-Eleven on 10th and Alma, and we'd go down to the parking lot at Jericho Beach, or we'd go to the lookout point at Trimble Park or whatever. Yeah. And you would always find people, but it was so fun because it was always an adventure, because some nights nothing would happen. You'd just be driving around smoking, and other nights you'd find like this big party, or you'd end up wandering around the streets.
Every
and you'd end up at some
quest.
Chinese restaurant drinking or whatever. Yeah.
Every night was a side quest. I saw a really funny tweet where it was like, these kids just called me gay for not buying them a 6-pack at the 7-Eleven, like nature is healing or something like that. They're like, America is healing. Like, it is true.
Oh yeah, you'd spend so much time trying to get somebody to boot for you, like a hobo outside the liquor store. Yeah, but by the way,
we could get away with it because we hadn't, like, it's our fault, us. It's on us. We are the ones who all bought into the surveillance state.
We did?
Yeah, we did. Our generation, more than anyone.
I'm sort of resentful that you're making me
think about
accountable for this. I'm like, did I buy into the surveillance?
Yes, you did.
How? When? What did I do? I'm so defensive.
You did.
Like when? Like how so? What do you mean?
I mean, do you own a cell phone?
Yes, I do own a cell phone.
Yeah.
First, I had a pager, though.
Did you
ever
have
a pager?
I definitely had a pager.
Yeah.
That's how I got away with so many shenanigans.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you do you have like probably not in Mexico because you have the cartel
I see what
instead.
you mean, like joining.
Do you have a Ring camera?
What's a Ring camera?
No, you don't. You have the cartel in Mexico. You don't need a Ring camera.
No, I don't have. I live pretty low key in Mexico.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean.
No, they're like the cameras that like everybody has them now. They're just like
I see
door
what you
cameras.
mean. I was like, what is
they
a Ring
record
camera?
everybody.
I live in a third world country. Bridget.
I know. You live in a narco terror state.
That's why I'm having such a fun time living free and easy.
Yeah. Yep. The mob protects you. It's good.
Not have to operate with the cartel. But
yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. But I mean, because it didn't occur to us that getting a smartphone or going on social media had anything to do with surveillance.
Yeah.
But it did, of course.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of examples of it. Even with like kids, you know, we used to have like the dumb, like the kids, the baby monitors where it would like pick up your neighbor's cell phone or whatever when they started getting cell phones, and we get interference from other places, and then they got the like shitty cameras, and now then the one that we had, like I could log in and check her from my house when she was a baby, it's good and bad. But we were like, there was a point where she didn't want us to take it out of her room, and we're like, that's not good. Like I don't want her like get used to being surveilled all the time.
She didn't want you to take it out of her room?
Because she was like, well, at least I know that like Mom, it was like her way of knowing that we could see her. And so we were like, that's not good. So how do we, it was like a weird thing. And I'm actually talking to Lenore Skenazy about it because cool. This is my recent obsession is like this was the interesting thing about that heist that happened just the other day in France. There was a massive heist.
I missed this.
Oh, wow. Okay. It was all over the news. They stole like the crown jewels from the Louvre in broad daylight.
That's amazing. How could you even do that in this day and age?
This was the overall, and we were saying this on Dumpster Fire. I'm like, we live in such a dystopian surveillance nightmare that everyone's initial reaction to this was, isn't that wholesome? Like, how quaint. Old school art heist.
A classic heist.
A jewel heist from the Louvre in 2025, and they got away with it.
What?
Yeah, they got away with
that
it
is
so far.
Wild.
So far.
That's I didn't think that anybody could get away with anything anymore. Like
exactly, because we live in a surveillance state.
Well, thank God. Thank God people are still pulling off heists.
Yeah.
Heartening.
Yeah, but even that reaction to me highlighted how much of a surveillance state we have all opted into already.
I mean, I have opted out a bit, but I guess this isn't really just about me.
Yeah, but it's like the digital IDs, and isn't Canada going all in on this shit?
I'm never going back to Canada again. Fuck them. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
She's just like a fucking refugee. We're going to be having she's going to get iced.
No. Oh God. I would be so sad. There's no amount of money that you could pay me to make me go
It'd be really funny if you were like
again.
sitting on Rogan's and you got iced in the middle of the podcast.
That wouldn't be funny. I would be devastated. I'm in Mexico legally, just so everyone's aware, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have residency.
I'm in Mexico legally.
I am legitimately in Mexico.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll never live in Canada again. But yeah,
that's what I mean. Like the digital ID in the UK, they're pushing it
through
Australia.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
It's really scary, and I don't really know. It's disturbing how many people go along with that kind of stuff. And I think in general, people buy into almost anything if they're told that it'll be more convenient. It'll be easier.
That was like, have you seen the AWS? Did you see the outage yesterday? It was massive. Okay, so Amazon had a massive outage. Like that, not Amazon, the marketplace. Like, you know, they basically housed a third of the internet went down because there was some glitch in Amazon yesterday. They have like the they're like the cloud, right? It was.
It's a server.
Yeah, it was there. So a third of the internet is basically on Amazon servers. They have a lot of this servers and
main client is the government.
What?
Their main client was the government.
Oh, okay, really? Interesting. Huh. So they went down yesterday, and people have all of these smart beds now. This has been the funniest.
Smart bed?
Yeah, smart bed. And you know these like cool, it like can heat your bed up or cool it down.
You guys in these first world countries with your smart appliances and your
Also,
smart
America
beds.
is not poor, by the way. Like the number of people who are talking, because the owner of the 8-hour sleep or something, it's like, it's the name of the company. He went on Twitter and he was like, we're sorry for the outages and blah, blah, blah. And some people's beds were like stuck at 45 degrees. We were joking about this in my dumpster fire chat. We're like, what if the freaking, like, the kid put some code from like Chat GPT and then your bed just fucking slams shut and kills you. And heats up while you're in there. So people's beds were like stuck on getting hot. They were getting too cold. And all these people, way more than I expected, were like, hey, why isn't my bed working? And why? I was like, this is fucking crazy.
But these people are so stupid. I'm sorry. But like
16
why
gigabytes.
wouldn't you think if I buy a smart bed, then maybe there'll be a glitch? This is also why I don't like self-driving cars. This is also why I don't want to own a car that was made after 1995. Like I want to be able to manually roll down my windows. I don't want a computer.
Now this is just
right?
Now you're just being a martyr.
Well, no. I don't know. I
get that.
I inherently don't trust. I'm
technology.
I don't want a computer to control my appliances or my house or my vehicle or whatever. I want to be able, like, I want.
Yeah, people couldn't get into their garage.
Right.
Their garage.
But of course, that's what would happen. If everything is operating on a computer with your remote or your phone app or whatever,
I'm
it's so
dumpster
dangerous.
Fire on this. It's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
I don't like it either. And finding a balance, I think, is important. And I do agree that people will trade pretty much privacy. They'll be surveilled. They'll be tracked and have all their information sold to third parties all over the world if they can easily, like. I don't even know why you need technology on your refrigerator, but a lot of people have it. Yeah. If you can have something that talks to you and you tell it to turn the lights to
talk to your fridge
50% or whatever.
Well, I guess people don't go to work anymore. You can talk to your dog from work.
You know, you have the like doggy cams.
Right.
You can talk to your dog from work.
People love conveniences. If they're told that it'll be more convenient and easier and safer, then they opt in. And it's very troubling for humanity because, I think we should be inherently concerned. Or, if you've ever watched a sci-fi movie, you'd think that you would be worried about opting in to all of these new technologies and AI and things like that, and robots that are going to obviously kill us and destroy humanity forever.
Here's the plus side, though.
You're like, I can control my refrigerator from work.
No. I try to be I try to balance being a doomer and a techno optimist because I have a child and now I have to. Otherwise, I'd be fucking full doomer. But I do try to balance it with some optimism. And I saw this great tweet yesterday that was like, you can be anywhere in the world in 24 hours. You can, for elderly people who don't want to give up driving, getting one of those self-driving cars allows them to extend their ability to have that independence longer than they would be able to because a lot of them are getting it and it just drives for them when they probably shouldn't be on the road.
Sure, there are some positives, and the negative is that it's end civ. And it's the end of civilization. And that all of this AI and all of these AI robots, these humanoid robots, will destroy humanity forever.
It's just the beginning.
Indeed.
Just the beginning of their civilization. Might be the end of ours.
Yeah.
What in the discourse is most fascinating to you right now as someone who, like, what's really what are the conversations that you find the most fascinating at the moment now that you won?
What's the next thing I'm going to be right about?
Yeah, what's the next thing Meghan Murphy's going to be right about?
I mean, I think AI, but it's not, I don't know if I would call it fascinating. I'm genuinely very concerned and worried about AI and the extent to which everyone is jumping on board with AI without thinking about it at all. You know, like I have so many friends who are doing basically therapy through AI.
Oh, I know. Dude, my therapist isn't doing therapy through AI, but she told me she groks. She uses the grok. She loves the grok. And it has a name. And I was like, oh, shit. The boomers have no resistance to this at all.
No.
But she doesn't even use Twitter. She's not on social media. She just downloaded. She was like, well, I didn't know which one to get. And I figured that Elon is building rockets, so this would probably be the best one. So she just downloaded the app. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. But she just uses it to like go deep into these like rabbit holes of neuroscience and stuff like that and what's the most recent. But I'm like, are you fact checking this stuff? Because a lot of it like hallucinates and just makes shit up. And some of the studies aren't even real. It's just like shit that the grok made up.
Grok told me that I didn't have American citizenship, and I was like, fuck you, I do. Like, why? And it has this weird attitude-y personality.
It's Elon. Your
like
savior, by the way. Elon
Thank
rescued
God for
you.
Elon. I know. I can't ever not be, pro Elon. There's many things that I don't feel positively about when it comes to Elon, including AI stuff. And the AI,
saved
or
our guys.
the little like anime porn AI people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah,
I was wondering how you felt about the porn.
He did get me back on Twitter, thank God, which is my favorite. I love tweeting. I do love tweeting. I don't really like any other social medias. Sorry, I love Xing. I mean, I don't really like using. I mean, nobody uses Facebook anymore, but
a lot of people do.
A lot of old people.
No, young people.
No, they don't.
Melissa Chen kills it on Facebook. I'm telling you.
People are using Facebook. I don't ever go on there.
People use it.
I hate it.
I've been told by many people that that's one of the places you can monetize the best because they're trying to compete with all the other ones.
What?
And so if you get your content going on there and Snapchat, because Snapchat's also not the popular one right now. Those are the two places where you can really like monetize your content.
Really? Okay, well, maybe I should try to use Facebook. I really hate it.
I feel like you're going to get booted off Facebook in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, I think I've been shadow banned or whatever.
You need to get canceled again.
No.
Okay, no.
I mean, of course I will get canceled again. I'm like canceled for life.
What other than AI, what's your next like, what are you going to be right about? And
I mean, there's so many things that I'm concerned about. I'm very concerned about lab-grown meat. I'm very concerned about people's ability to grow their own food. I feel like in places like Canada, farmers and ranchers are just being kind of, bureaucratized out of existence.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just made it so difficult financially to survive and to be self-sustaining and sovereign. My main concern is sovereignty.
So,
right? And I think it's next to impossible in Canada, and things are only getting worse, and they have no fight in them.
Mm.
So those are, some of the main things that concern me. But like I don't want to be dependent. I mean, you always are going to be dependent on some level. You can't ever really fully be sovereign in this civilization. You can't just check out. But I'm concerned that so many people aren't concerned about the fact that they live in a city, they live in an urban setting, and they're completely reliant on technologies and like Uber Eats and somebody delivering, they don't have they don't have a water source. Mm-hmm. They don't have access to fruit and vegetables of their own. They don't have access to meat. Like everything can end in a second.
Yeah.
And people don't really seem to think about that.
Isn't that like any civilization though?
I mean, on some level, yeah. But I feel...
Do you cook?
I cook steak.
Do you?
I mean, I know how to cook.
Do you have access to
technically
water and stuff? Like, do you have your own?
No, but that's because I don't have enough money to buy property. But that's what I want to do. Like, I want to be able to like buy land so that I can have a cow and have a donkey and, I do know how to grow things. That would be the ideal. Yeah. I've been making bone broth. I've been making bone broth a lot. I'm killing it on the bone broth front.
I love that like everyone's idea of homesteading is like, I can make some bone broth. It's a lot of work.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you grow up on a farm?
No. I grew up in Vancouver.
Oh, right.
But I mean, we also, when I was a kid, we spent a lot of time in the forest and camping and in rural places. And my parents, we always, I grew up pretty poor. I grew up working class. I grew up in co-ops.
Yeah.
So I was good. My dad always cooked at home, but it was just because we couldn't afford to go to restaurants, I think.
My husband's always giving me shit because he's like, you're like the weirdest version. And I think a lot of women are like this nowadays in particular, where it's like, I'll suddenly get obsessed with canning, but I want to be able to like get all the materials Amazon to my house immediately. He's like, so in this world where you need to can, you do realize you're not going to have Amazon delivery, right?
Right.
I'm like, yeah, but at least I'll have all the stuff I need.
Bone broth is actually pretty easy.
Oh, it's so easy.
Yeah, and I bought a ton of jars for my bone broth, and I make it out of chicken feet. You can make it out of any bones.
Yeah,
and
it's easy.
You just need, I have a gas stove. I don't have an electric stove. So, I guess if I run out of gas, I'm kind of screwed. I'll have to get one of the cartel guys to go siphon some for me.
Have you been learning Spanish down there?
Bone broth. I'm pretty bad.
Does everyone speak English?
No, there's lots of people there that don't speak English.
Oh, okay.
And unfortunately, I can't have a conversation with them, which is sad because I love Mexicans and I love Spanish. I think I thought, I technically can speak French. I was in French, which is the stupidest language to know. Like, when am I going to use French ever? Never.
Maybe buying some jewels.
Like, I've never even been to France. And I hate Quebec. And so why, but in Canada, we're a bilingual country, so everybody learns French. So I spent 12 years learning French, not very well. I was never good at it, and I always hated it. But I thought because, there's a Latin root, so it's sort of similar to Spanish, that I thought I would have an easier time learning or picking up Spanish, but that was not the case.
So what is an average, day in the life for you down there?
Okay, so I wake up at around noon. Bright and early.
Okay. Track.
It's not, just to be clear, it's not because I'm lazy. Although getting 8 or 9 hours of sleep a night is very important to me. But I'm actually not, I'm nocturnal. I'm totally nocturnal. And I've always been like this. I've never, ever been capable of switching over to be a morning person. Even, I worked in offices for years and years and years when I was younger. I also had a reception job where I had to be there at 8 a.m.
Oh God,
and
I just
always,
a nightmare for you.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
I wanted to kill I would cry on the bus on the way to work. I'm not joking. This
So
is
you
how
wake
I
up
ended
at
up living
noon.
in a trailer, because I was like, I can't do this anymore.
You wake up at noon, and then what?
I'll make coffee. I'll try to go and sit up on my roof to get my morning sun.
I think Huberman means the sunrise sun.
I feel whatever I'm doing is working.
She's
I feel good.
Staring into the sun at noon. It's my morning.
I don't believe Huberman is so prescriptive. It's you have to do it at 10 a.m. or whatever it is. I'm like, whatever. I'm getting vitamin D.
No, you get your morning sun.
Yeah, and then I'll start working. I'll check my emails and I'll start editing something or whatever, and then I'll usually now I'm just gonna sound really boring. I fast.
Okay.
Almost every day. So I'll go to the gym at around 4 or 5 and I won't eat anything all day until after that. And then I'll have a steak and go back to work. And at some point in the day, I'll probably have an interview scheduled or something like that. Maybe closer to 2 or 3 so that I'm awake. And I work, I'll start writing at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
I work until 2 a.m. most nights or 3 a.m. So I'm up until 4 because, like, you know, like if you just stop working, like if you just stop writing or editing something, you're wired.
Yeah.
So I'll like watch a show and then I got to get my full 9 hours of sleep. Yeah. So then, you know, Thursday, Friday night, I'll go sing some karaoke.
Nice life.
Yeah. And then, I kind of fuck off on the weekends. Like I try to not go on social media a bunch and I try to not do too much work. Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely value balance. That's why I'm broke. If I didn't, I would work more and I would probably make more money than I do. But I also, like, I want to have a nice life. I don't want to be stressed. Like, I really love my friends in Mexico where I live. Like, I love the little town and yeah. So I sort of have my sort of Sunday night through Thursday schedule and then I try to kind of, fuck off for a few days and lose my voice.
Are you learning how to surf?
No, God, no.
Isn't it a surf break?
Yeah, it's a surf town.
Yeah.
No, I don't, that's not a skill that I want to focus on at this age.
Yeah.
And I don't want to swallow all that water and I don't want to injure myself. I box and I lift weights.
Okay.
Which is great. I actually really, this is the first time in my life in the past. So I've been in Mexico for almost 5 years now. This is the first time that I've had like a real genuine workout routine. And I love it. I wish that I'd started doing it before. That's probably one of the only regrets that I have in my life is that I didn't start lifting weights consistently earlier because it changes your body in such great ways and it makes you feel so good mentally and physically. I notice it a lot at the airport because it's so much easier to lug all your stuff around and like I'm like carrying this stuff around, like speed walking around the airport and judging everybody else who's huffing and puffing. I like that. Yeah. I'm like, oh, my core is so strong.
Yeah, it is. They really do like. It really just starts getting blasted at you at women of our condition. Like, it's like protein, lifting weights, protein. I'm like, I never want to fucking hear the word protein again.
Oh, I talk about protein all the time. I love talking about protein. I eat so much protein.
It. No, I love it. It was life-changing for me, truly.
I eat so much meat every day. Yeah, it did. It made a huge difference. And I remember, like, specifically for as you're aging, you're supposed to be eating tons of protein and lifting weights or whatever. But, you know, when I was younger, you know, my 20s or whatever, like we all learned that vegetarianism was good for you or even veganism. I feel like I got those messages. And so I spent so many years, I was never a strict vegetarian and definitely was never a strict vegan, but I would sort of aim for that. Like I didn't eat very much meat and most of what I cooked was vegetarian and I ate a ton of tofu and fake meat and stuff like that. And that stuff is all so bad for you. And I just also remember feeling tired all the time. I had no energy because I wasn't eating red meat. My periods were bad. I would black out. Like I would get my period when I was 17, 18 and like be anemic and literally faint and pass out all the time. Yeah. Because I wasn't eating any red meat and I didn't know that I needed that. We did get that messaging, I think, in the 90s that red meat, my parents stopped eating red meat and pork when I was a teenager because we got that messaging that it was bad for you and like butter was bad for you. All these things that are actually good and good for you.
I just don't think my mom ever listened to it.
Oh, okay.
She was, we still ate meat like pretty regularly. And there were 5 of us. And we were just like, she was always just trying to give us food that like would fill us up because we would just raid the refrigerator and the pantry constantly, like 5 kids.
Right. That's a lot.
And protein does like fill you up. So I think she just, it wasn't like, oh, good or bad. It was like, how can I fill these kids up?
I feel like I was just always eating tons of pasta and rice. And then when left to my own devices, you know, when I moved out on my own when I was 18 or whatever, I lived on, you know, like pizza pops for however many years and like poutine.
What are you writing about these days?
I have been trying to write a lot about AI and Canadian politics a ton. How bad the left is mostly, which I know that's sort of an oversaturated market, but it drives me insane. And I feel like I have a useful perspective because I was a leftist, you know? Like I think a lot of the criticisms of the left are lacking in the fact that they're coming from right-wing and conservative people who don't understand the left and think that it's, a viable or productive insult to go around calling everybody a communist. I'm like, yeah, but communists don't feel bad that they're communists. They think it's a good thing.
Right.
So being like, you're a communist. Like when people would call me a communist, I'd be like, yeah, I'm a communist.
You're like, yeah, thank you.
Because communism is good. You're bad. You're just like a greedy capitalist. Like I was such a leftist for most of my life. When I was a teenager, I was into Marxism.
Yeah.
And then, I went through anarchism stages. And
do you still think capitalism is kind of bad?
It can be bad. It's just that it's not black and white. I mean, there's just no better system. There's no better option.
Right.
So, of course, there's negative things to capitalism. Obviously, this is how we end up with, like, big pharma feeding us pills that are really bad for us because they can profit so much by inventing various mental health issues that we need prescription pills for, or inventing vaccines that we don't need.
But how much of this is, like, cronyism?
Yeah. I mean, it's not, but I mean, you could make the same argument about, it would be a bad argument, but you could make the same argument about socialism where you're like, oh, well, we've never done it perfectly before.
Right.
There's pure capitalism is a good system for the most part.
Better
that's
than,
not really
what is
what
that,
we're
like, quote?
with.
It's like it's not perfect, but it's better than the other ones. Yeah.
It is. I mean, because I'm pro-freedom.
So weird. I never studied Marxism at all. And I have a lot of friends who have, and it sounds fucking miserable.
I think it is
sounds like a
miserable.
miserable life.
I took political science and women's studies and some philosophy.
Yeah.
But I was always more left than everybody else at school. Like,
Yeah.
I was, like, the one that was, like, I thought that progressives weren't left-wing enough. I always thought that the NDP, which is Canada, or there's a provincial version and a federal version of the NDP, they weren't left-wing enough. Like, they took the word socialism out of their little mandate thing, and I was irate. But I know why I was a leftist, and I know how I thought about being a leftist, and I know how I saw the world, and I know why I believed in that. So I understand why other people do as well, and I understand also why it's stupid and wrong and misguided. So I feel like I have a better perspective than most on that end of things because, a lot of the right-wingers and the conservatives are just like, this is evil. And I do think it's evil. And I have said it's evil, but it's not, some of it might be intentionally evil. But the regular progressives, they're not evil. They think that they're doing the good thing. And they think that, they're being high and mighty about their belief that they're the most ethical and the most empathetic and the most moral because the result of the ideologies and the policies that they're supporting is really immoral and really unethical and really harmful in a wide variety of ways. But it's not, they're not being intentionally evil. And that's what I think a lot of the right sort of gets wrong about the left.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody's talking past each other all the time. And I think progressives really do live, it's so strange. Like, they really live on a different planet. Like, the people that I know back in Canada, the things that they believe are true, that everybody else knows are not true, including what happened during COVID and what happened with the vaccine and the mandates and the lockdowns and the masking, which they all still think are good and legitimate things, including with the transitioning of kids. The things that they believe that everybody else knows are not true, and they still continue to be like, oh, well, the vaccine, saved lives. And I'm like, no, that's not what happened. The lockdown saved lives. Well, there's still tons of people who believe that masking is a good thing and does something, and that, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner's daughter, I think, was she at the UN telling people that we should go back to mandatory masking, something weird like that. But that's like, what most, well, probably all progressive Canadians still believe all that stuff. It's like they're trapped in a different planet on account of their algorithm, I guess, and the media that they consume and the people that they engage with are all just like them. They all believe the same thing, so they don't get any. And when they receive external challenges, they write it off as conspiracy theorists or bigotry, or just, these people are MAGA, who they associate MAGA with being stupid and ignorant and racist and so on and so forth.
Right. What's your favorite, what podcast or book are you watching, reading? What book are you reading or listening to, or podcast are you listening to that's really stuck out to you recently?
That's a good question. I feel like I'm getting a bit podcasted out. So
you and the rest of the world?
Yeah, I know, which is, because I
not good for those of us with podcasts.
I know. I mean, I'm not tired of my own podcast. But I obviously listen to Rogan. Sometimes I listen to your podcast. I listen to Trigonometry. It's, for me, it depends. I choose my podcast based on the content or the interviewee. Yeah. And part of that is just because of my work. If I'm trying to learn about something or, there's a specific person, maybe I'm prepping for an interview or something like that. I listen to Meghan Kelly a lot. And what else do I listen to? I don't listen to a lot of podcasts for entertainment's sake.
Yeah.
I listen to consume or learn something. And so it's the same thing with a lot of the books that I read. I'm often prepping, but I've been trying to read Orwell a lot.
More fiction.
I just got a copy of Kafka's The Trial, which I'm sort of scared to read because I think that it's just going to drive me insane. So I'm like, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Reading Orwell does kind of drive. I reread Animal Farm, which I hadn't read since, I can't remember if it was late in high school or early in college, but when I read it, I didn't understand what it was about. Like, I don't think I understood that it was this critique of communism. But I read Orwell, and he's great, obviously, but it also drives me insane because I'm like, why isn't everybody getting this? Like, I reread 1984 when I first got to Mexico, so almost 5 years ago, and I was like, if everybody in the world just reread 1984, then this would all be resolved, and we would stop going down this path that we're on. But I don't think that's even true. Like, I think that people would reread it and still somehow not connect it to what's happening in this world, or they just wouldn't want to. Like, it would almost be too overwhelming to realize the path that we're going down by, criminalizing so-called hate speech and limiting what people can see and read and produce online because, it's for our own good. Rewriting history so that, we're looking at everything through a post-colonial lens and those kinds of things that they're doing in universities. I remember I was at the Apple store in San Francisco a few years ago and I was talking to this kid and he was very proudly telling me that he had been tasked with, I think he was doing a master's degree or something, like rewriting history books.
Wow.
To include this post-colonial analysis.
That's crazy.
He was editing all these history texts.
This is why I want to get an old encyclopedia. That's what I want for Christmas.
That's a good idea.
I want just a set from, I don't know. No, but 2002. Before it gets weird, but maybe post 9/11. You'd want 9/11 in there, right?
I would love to see what they write about it.
Yeah, I wonder what they would write about it. I'm always advocating for paper books. I buy and read paper books.
Yeah.
On purpose.
Yeah. I've been listening to. I don't generally listen to books.
No, me neither.
Because I have a harder time, keeping it in my brain than if I read it.
Me too.
But because I have such a drive constantly in and out of town, I've started listening to books, and I actually getting through a lot of books, but I cannot, it's I can only do it when I'm just in the zone in a long stretch. If I have to focus at all, I just have to turn the book off because if I miss even like 30 seconds of the book, I'm the person that wants to rewind it. I do this with movies and it drives my husband crazy. He's like, just keep watching. Like, you'll figure it out. I'm like, no, what'd they say 30 seconds ago? He's like, can't you just like discern what they said?
I'm exactly the same. I mean,
I'm like, no, I need to see it. Is this a guy thing? I was like, no, I have to see every minute of every, like, I cannot miss a single second of this. So yeah, I don't know. I've been listening to more, but I prefer to read them. I don't want, like, when I have to do research or have somebody on and they have a book, I always want them to send me the book instead of
I know, me too.
I don't want to read it on a screen. I don't want a PDF.
Annoyed because people will be like, oh, here's a PDF. I'm like, I'm not going to read that.
But
I'm
also,
not reading
like,
a book on my laptop.
I stare at screens all day, and I don't necessarily want to stare at a screen even when I have to do the research. But also, I was thinking about this having a kid now. She can't tell that I'm reading a book if I'm reading it on a screen. If I'm reading a book, she can see I'm holding a book and reading a book and mom is reading books. And you're setting that example for her. If I'm reading a book on a Kindle or on a screen, even if I'm reading it, she doesn't see that. She still perceives it as mom is looking at a screen. And I feel like that's a very big difference in what your child is observing and like the habits that you're trying to like more. My friend always says, and I don't know where this comes from, but she heard it from somewhere, like more is caught than taught. So kids catch more. Like, you can be like, you need to read, you need to read, you need to read. But if you're on a screen all day, that's what they're catching. Yeah. And so for me, it's more important that I'm like reading actual physical books in front of her than on my screen. And I am by no means perfect, especially because so much of my work is constantly having to be on my phone.
Yeah, I mean, I, in principle, and because I hate it, won't read a book on a screen. Like, I won't read it on a laptop. I mean, sometimes I'll listen to an audiobook, but I'm like you. Like, it doesn't sink into my brain, and I'm just constantly rewinding to catch it. And you can't mark it up, and you can't highlight stuff, and you can't make notes. No, I'm very attached to paper books, and I'm glad that, you know, everybody who was our age when they were kids obviously had to read paper books because there's no other option. But I was really forced by my parents to read books, and we weren't really allowed to watch much TV. I was asking
my Gen Z nephew if they read his generation, and he's like, why would we do that? We can just type it into like ChatGPT and have it give us a summary.
That's so depressing.
I was like, isn't that
what's going to happen to writers? Will there be writers?
No. I don't even know that they're going to need to know how to write. We might be the last generation en masse that knows how to like read and write.
So we have a niche.
Critical thinking. And it will be like a class thing because all of the rich people I know are teaching their kids critical thinking. They're teaching their kids like all the classics. They're making them read. They're making them write cursive, all this stuff. And it's going to be a class divide. It's going to be just like the masses who don't have access to this stuff are going to have, like, they're going to use AI for everything. They're not going to really know how to read, write, or even think for all that matter. They're just going to be able to kind of outsource all of it to the computer. And then there will be a class that still knows how to do these things.
Well, and those are all going to be the same people who are going to be all on UBI and eventually phased out of the planet. And by eventually, I mean within the next
and on that note,
10 years.
I mean, it's not the end of one of my podcasts if it's not the apocalypse. What's your biggest defective character?
Gosh, how could I choose one? Only one?
Just the first one that comes to mind.
I have a problem with being late for everything. You probably noticed that earlier today. I did, in my defense, my sleep has been very messed up from being in London, and I woke up early and fell back asleep again, and then woke up again at 2 and was like, fuck, gotta go, podcast. I consistently am 40 minutes late for everything. Like, I think I have some kind of time dyslexia. Again, I've been like this my whole life. I have a problem discerning and being realistic about how long things take, How long will it take me to get ready? How long will it take me to walk somewhere? How long will it take me to get an Uber? Oh, that's right. I have to take my dogs out to pee before I leave the house, which is something I consistently leave out of my brain. So I'm really, really late for everything. It's not a very interesting defect. I have others that are probably much more interesting. I'm terrible at choosing men. Is that a good defect?
I think the time one is a defect one.
It's bad because, and you know what? I feel guilty about it because people who are on time always assume that the late people don't give a shit and that they're just entitled. But I feel stressed and guilty about it when I'm late for things.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm like, screw you, wait for me. And I can't seem to change it. So I do feel bad and I'm just not really. So I mean, luckily I live in Mexico now and it's normalized to be late for everything all the time. There's that. I procrastinate. I leave everything to the last minute. So I hardly can ever meet a deadline. Sorry to my editors. I think, they're aware of that at this point. Yeah, and I tend to choose men that I'm not compatible with down the road because my brain gets all oxytocined up. And a year down the line, I'm like, you're retarded.
I was blinded by the love drugs.
It's true.
What's your biggest asset?
This is good. I hope this doesn't make me sound like cocky and full of myself, but I think I am a bit cocky and I have a robust ego. I think I've never had chlamydia before.
I've never had chlamydia. My biggest.
Pretty good sell, right, guys? Mm-hmm. I think I'm good at getting along with people, and some people might laugh when they say that because I can also be a huge bitch. Like I really don't give a shit what anybody thinks about me. So if somebody doesn't like me, I'm like, I don't care. I don't like you either. But I think I'm good at getting along with people. I think I have a good personality. Like I'm good at talking to people and making people feel, comfortable, and which of course is an asset if you're doing podcasting and interviewing all the time. And I think that was sort of developed over time. I don't think that was an innate characteristic that I had. But when I started doing journalism, like I had to get over this fear of kind of cold calling people and asking them questions and asking people questions that are uncomfortable questions, like that you feel sort of guilty about asking because you feel like you're prying, or it might feel confrontational or something like that.
Because it's both.
Because it is. Yeah. And you're being nosy. Mm-hmm. And that's not polite. But that's what you have to do if you're a journalist or a podcaster. So you become I really appreciate this part of my life. You become really comfortable talking to people and asking questions. And at the end of the day, actually, people really like talking about themselves. That's something that you learn. And you ask them questions, and they actually, for the most part, kind of like that. It's different if you're in some sort of like controversial interview scenario. I wish that men would learn that, because I find that, and maybe this is a generational thing, but there's this thing where men, you probably, like, before you were married and you were dating or whatever, you would maybe...
I didn't really date.
I didn't date either. I always am like, I never tried. Like, do you think I was going out looking for a man?
So much as like go out, get wasted, and like hook up with a guy.
Yeah, dude, we have the same origin story, I guess.
If that's dating, then I guess I dated.
Did you find a boyfriend going on a date?
I didn't really have boyfriends.
Meet a guy on a bar and sleep with him, and then eventually he became your boyfriend?
No, I didn't really have boyfriends.
Really?
No.
I always had boyfriends. I've had a lot of boyfriends.
I was not like, I was so...
But I didn't meet them through dating.
We could do a whole podcast on just like being drunk sluts.
Most of my life I've had boyfriends. Like I would say 27 until a couple of years ago, I had like boyfriend. Like they were all long-term monogamous relationships.
Yeah, I wasn't into that.
Slut years in my early 20s, but yeah, I mean,
I was just always like I was just so hyper focused on building whatever I wanted to build that a boyfriend I just always considered it a distraction. So I usually just like bounced around men who were kind of unavailable. But as my therapist pointed out, like that's what I wanted. Mm-hmm. I would be like, they're so unavailable and emotionally unavailable. She's like, yeah, because you don't want someone who's available. Because I saw it as an impingement to my freedom. So I never wanted to have a boyfriend that much. And
I didn't do it intentionally. It was always by accident, which is why I chose men that were bad matches for me, because I never intentionally went out looking for a boyfriend or a relationship ever. It's just like, I think I am kind of inherently monogamous. I mean, most people probably are, but it would start out completely with no direction or intention. You'd just be hooking up with somebody, and then eventually, he'd be my boyfriend, and then that would end 2 or 3 years later,
I feel like
and
I've
I'd
just
do it again.
blocked that whole part of my life out. I mean that even my husband and I, it wasn't really intentional. Like we kind of were off and running. And it was too soon, and then we were together, and then we broke up, and then 15 months later got back together, and then we were off and running again, and then, it was just love. I actually think I fell in love in a way that I just never had fallen in love before, which was something my mom always said. She was like, I was like, I don't want kids, I don't want this, and she was like, well, then you've never been in love. And to her credit, she was right. Yeah. Because I didn't really want kids until I fell in love. And
well, hopefully I don't fall in love again.
Well,
then, because what am I gonna do?
You can always adopt.
No.
All right, we got to wrap.
Okay.
Where can we find you?
The Same Drugs as my podcast. You can find that on Spotify or all the other podcast apps. Please become a paid subscriber on Substack. This is how I'm able to continue to write and produce the podcast. I am fully independent as opposed to being funded by the Russians.
I know. I feel like I always joke you and I are the last independent record labels.
I know. But
everyone else has gotten
man.
money or bought out or consolidated. And then there's Meghan and I, and we're
subscribe
still
to my
Substack. We're still doing that independent thing,
I'm still clinging to the same model that I started using 15 years ago. That's no longer really working. I'm just getting broker. But on Substack, Meghan Murphy, meghanmurphy.ca, or just search Meghan Murphy or search The Same Drugs. YouTube, Meghan Murphy.
Awesome.
Twitter. Thank God. Sorry, X. Meghan E. Murphy.
All righty. Well, thank you for coming through.
Thanks. This was fun.
This has been Walk-Ins Welcome with Bridget Phetasy. I'm Bridget Phetasy, and you're welcome. It's the dumbest line.